Time for another show review. Today I want to talk about Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? A show that used to air on Fox but now is airing on Nickelodeon. First, let's talk about the original Fox version with Jeff Foxworthy. The original one started in 2007. Around the same time, Don't Forget the Lyrics also started, which I wish Disney Channel would pick that one up, or some other channel, or even Nickelodeon. I'll talk about Don't Forget the Lyrics in another video. For this one, it involves answering questions that you would remember in elementary school. It's kind of similar to Win Tuition, which was presented by Mark Summers, and Make the Grade that used to air on Nickelodeon. In fact, Make the Grade was originally on this channel, Nickelodeon. Go figure. But, yeah. In Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, the original one, you got to pick a classmate from one of the five. In the original season, you had the options with Laura Morano, Kyle Collier, Jacob Hayes, Alana Etheridge, and Spencer Martin. Those were the original five in the original first season. That's where their names were. And throughout some point in season one, Laura was replaced with Marky throughout part of the season for unknown reasons. If anyone knows why that is, but go ahead and tell me, because I don't know why Laura was off the season for a while and then was replaced with Marky. Only the people at Fox know. Aside from that, then each season they replace the fifth graders, because by next year they're not fifth graders, they're sixth graders. So they had to replace all five of them for a good reason. But aside from that, yeah. Anyway, the game works like this. You pick a level and subject. Like, for example, you pick any subject from any grade level. You can start with the fifth grade, third grade, fourth grade, or anything besides the first grade level. Generally, I would recommend your classmate's best subject. They can be very helpful in case you get a question wrong or stumped on a question. You had three cheats. Well, two of them are cheats, and one is actually a save. Peek was allowed you to take a look at another player's, at your classmate's answer, and then you can decide to go with them or choose to go for a different answer. Copy was basically you're committed to the answer. And save, if you were to get a question wrong, your classmate can save you, but only once. And then afterwards, if you get a question wrong, you flunk out. If you were to reach $25,000, it's like a safety level similar to Millionaire when you have $1,000 and $32,000. If you were to flunk out at any point after the $25,000 question, you are guaranteed 25 grand. If you were to do it before the 25 grand, you get nothing. Now, for the $1 million question, if you were to answer all 10 questions correctly, you are eligible to go for the $1 million question. They show you a subject, and then you have to decide whether to go for it or drop out. Also, if you use up all your cheats, including your save, you can choose to drop out at any point if you're unsure of the question. Because if you were to get the question wrong, you flunk out, basically. Also, for each two subjects, you have to pick a different classmate. And then afterwards, depending on if you have any cheats left or even the save left, if you make it to the $1 million question, you're on your own. But if you were to use up all three helps or cheats or whatever, including the save, you are on your own. Jeff will tell your classmate to go back to the podium and say, "It's just you and me now." And there have been several people who went for the $1 million question, and only two people actually succeeded and said, "I am smarter than a fifth grader." For the rest, everyone else, they had to say to the camera, "I am not smarter than a fifth grader." For the syndicated version, for each grade level, first grade levels was worth $500, second grades were worth $1,000 each, third grade $2,500, fourth grade $3,500, and fifth grade was $5,000 for each. That's how the syndicated version worked. And there was only three classmates in that version. And instead of flunking out. If you were to get a question wrong, you lose all the money you have in your bank. And you can't drop out. You got to keep playing until you reach the final question, and then you can decide to drop out or go for it. The top prize in the original was obviously $1 million. And as mentioned, two people have gotten the $1 million. For the syndicated version, the top prize is, well, $250,000. And that one was also hosted by Jeff Foxworthy. But aside from that, yeah. Aside from that, well, the primetime version came back in 2015 for one season, and that was it. They could have came up with season 6, season 5, but they didn't. So what can you expect? And yeah. Also on the original, they had a classroom club question where if they get a question right, a special class will win a prize as well. As for the Nickelodeon version, which I'm about to get to, it kind of takes notes off of the syndicated version a bit, where if you get a question wrong, you don't flunk out. They kind of took the idea from, well, Set for Life and Child Support and other shows. If you goof up, the top value is gone. So, if you were to get a question right, the first ones were 500, then 1,000, then 2,500. Then if they were to play a perfect game, they win 10,000. Then they go for the next thing. Also, for each question, you don't pick a subject. You get a subject, and that's that. But you still have your peek and copy. You don't have the save anymore. If you get a question wrong, you lose, you don't go up a level. You basically say goodbye to the top level, similar to Set for Life. If I were to say anything about this new version with John Cena, it's alright. At least they kept the theme song. Well, they went for the remix one that aired on Fox. Some of the music cues have been changed, but that was the same for the 2015 revival, so nothing too exciting there. No, I don't think you can expect much. So anyway, that's my review on the new Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? Personally, between Jeff Foxworthy and John Cena, I hope I don't get a lot of haters from John Cena fans, but when it comes to hosting, Jeff Foxworthy will always be Mr. If you think the answer is this, you may not be smarter than a fifth grader. That's all I'm going to say for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'm signing off. One more thing I forgot to wrap up. On the speed round portion, you're basically given 5 questions, and then you have 60 seconds to answer each question. If you are unsure on a question, you can rely on your classmate to get the question, answer the question for you. And yeah, if you were to play a perfect game on the speed round and the main game, you win $100,000. The speed round concept is alright. It almost reminds me of $1 Million Minute from Australia, which we need that show in America. It's similar to Sale of the Century and Temptation, the new Sale of the Century, which Temptation was a joke. But I sort of liked it, mainly because I grew up with that. I didn't watch Sale of the Century until 2011, sadly. But I'll talk about that in a different video. One more thing I forgot to wrap up. On the speed round portion, you're basically given 5 questions, and then you have 60 seconds to answer each question. If you are unsure on a question, you can rely on your classmate to get the question, answer the question for you. And yeah, if you were to play a perfect game on the speed round and the main game, you win $100,000. The speed round concept is alright. It almost reminds me of $1 Million Minute from Australia, which we need that show in America. It's similar to Sale of the Century and Temptation, the new Sale of the Century, which Temptation was a joke. But I sort of liked it, mainly because I grew up with that. I didn't watch Sale of the Century until 2011, sadly. But I'll talk about that in a different video. So, Thanks for watching. That's all I have to say.